Jesus Christ. We're muted from the start. We're already fucking up. You can tell we've had technical difficulties, so we are recording in the same damn place at the same damn time.
Damn bitch, it's us. They call Dave, producer Joe. Probably knows it's the commentary team for New Age Wrestling.
But we're not doing that. We are talking wrestling. And please, if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And there was some big news this week. And
not that news. Coming for you.
We found out the other day about the death of Hulk Hogan. It's wild. There's a lot of people have a lot of emotions.
Can we talk about this?
Let's start with the good.
I'm sharing some of this here. But yes, the good, sure. I mean, Hulk Hogan was the biggest character in pro wrestling history, right? I mean, he was responsible for the boom in the 1980s when it gets right down to it, right? Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania. There was no bigger attraction in pro wrestling. And, you know, although there was a lot of negative stuff that, you know, my man producer Joe is going to talk about here a little bit too, I do have to say, even if you just didn't count that, me personally, I was never really a Hogan guy growing up. Like, I liked Hogan as a character. I thought he was an attraction, but I was more into Jimmy Snuka, who also might have had a bit of a background and some shady stuff.
A lot of good guys back then.
Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior. Huh? But, no, I mean, at the end of the day, but even I could not deny that, like, Hulk Hogan was the biggest attraction of the 80s. And then basically reinvented himself, you know, again as a heel in the 90s with the NWO, and that became the catalyst, you know, really for the Monday Night Wars.
And then reinvented himself again as a reality TV star.
Well, yeah, he did that. You know.
And then he went into some home recordings, too.
Yeah, there was that. There was the stuff with, was that Bubba Love Sponge and his girlfriend? Yeah. Made a lot of money off of that, though, didn't he?
Yeah. He did make a lot of money, but it arguably...
We should do a show.
Killed the way a lot of people looked at him. And Randy, with a great point here, he made wrestling what it is today.
I mean,
like, if you're a wrestling fan now, you know of Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. You might have been a fan at one time or another, but he affected the business that you watched.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that talked about this yesterday that said, you know, whether you like him or not, we're probably not here in the capacity that we are if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, 100%. And we've talked about the good. We've talked about his legacy. His legacy definitely has, you know, there's some tough aspects of it. Obviously. So what was the first time that Hogan took a hit in your eyes? Because for me, it was just hearing about the sex tape, because it's like, that's the last setting I want to think about Hulk Hogan in.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's more some of the racist comments he made.
Oh, I was going to get there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's when it really took a hit from me. The sex stuff, hey, I'm not here to kink shame you, brother. You want to go mess around with your friend's girlfriend or whatever you guys are doing. I don't know, but...
it was really, getting to the racism and the way that it was handled, too. Because it was almost like brushed aside. And then when he was talking to his son while he was in prison, we heard the continuation of using that language. Mm-hmm. And then there was a couple years ago when he was brought to WWE, and there was that talk backstage. And the main story that a lot of people got from it was more that he was sad that he got caught, as opposed to, you know, being conciliatory for what he did. So it's tough. And I've thought about Hogan and Flair in a very similar way, that these are two of the biggest wrestlers of all time. You know, if you're a fan of wrestling, you're a fan of them. But then over the years, you've had to deal with a diminishing legacy. Mm-hmm. Now, did Hogan do more to his legacy than Flair has done to his? Like, do you look at Hogan?
Did Hogan his legacy more to Flair? Yeah. I'll answer this way. I think one thing about Flair, although not perfect, I think he's been a lot more open about the fact that he's not a perfect individual and a lot more open about that he's been making mistakes for a long, long time. I think the issue with Hogan when you got around a lot of the racist stuff was, I've heard, I think it was Mark Henry that talked about this too, and I could be wrong, that, he gave Hogan an opportunity to go speak with him, to some locker rooms and stuff like that and bring him out with him. And Hogan always declined and didn't really want to do that. And I don't think it was because necessarily that Hogan was saying I think Hogan just didn't want to be that guy that admitted, hey, I made it. He'd rather just run away from it and not face that. And that's very difficult when you're in that much of a public eye.
Yeah, and you look back to how he handled the steroids thing with Arsenio and just Hogan over the years getting this reputation as someone that bends the truth, that doesn't always give it to you right down the middle. So
absolutely.
It's a huge loss for the industry.
Yes.
We'd be remiss not to say anything about it, even though, you not as much a fan, me once a huge fan that felt hugely let down. At least now we can just go back, watch the matches, And
I mean, above all else, too, hey, our condolences to his family, friends, and anyone that was affected by this. Obviously, we know personally what it's like to have loss, so our condolences to them. And I will say this, all aside, last night when, people were talking about it, whether it's positive or negative, I was kind of in the mood to go back and watch some 1980s, SummerSlam, watch some 89 SummerSlam and watch Hogan and Savage team up. And then it made me a little sad because I saw an interview segment, Hogan, Savage, Elizabeth, and Mean Gene. And I'm like, oh, they all passed away.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing Hogan was, known for stealing the spotlight, keeping other people down. And I'm going to bring this up because I thought this was a huge loss. There are some wrestling connections.
Absolutely.
Ozzy had died days before that. I had talked a couple weeks ago about wanting to buy that last Black Sabbath concert and see the Ozzy and Black Sabbath performance. But I mean, for people of our age, even a little younger than us, these are two huge icons of the 80s and 70s as well. Two huge losses. Huge Ozzy fan, huge fan of heavy metal music in general. None of it would be here without Ozzy.
Absolutely. And the first time Ozzy made an appearance in pro wrestling, to your knowledge?
Was it the tag team match with the British Bulldogs? Maybe an appearance before that.
I remember that. WrestleMania 2. Yep.
Well, we're going to get into the wrestling talk this week. And TNA Slamaversary last Sunday. I really enjoyed this show, Dave. I've been hanging in there with TNA for the better part of 10 years, I'd say. I've seen the good, the bad. This was, I think, the best TNA show in a long time. Would you agree?
Yeah, I really liked it. I was actually just looking at some of these matches that were on this show just to kind of refresh my memory here. We started off. Oh, I didn't even see this. Did you watch any of the pre-show? I
did not catch the pre-show. Okay. I made it home in time for the main show, maybe a couple minutes late.
Just interesting to note, Zilla Fatu was on the pre-show as well in a 6-minute match. They were victorious. But the opener, Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander, I had joked around with AJ about this, that, this is like the old 205 Live days, but boy, they tore it up and, just a real barn burner, really great way to set the pace. Matt Cardona and the System beat Dark State from NXT.
That was an all right match. Yeah. I expected a little more out of a Cardona and Myers match in Long Island.
Sure.
But it did its thing.
This was the one I would say was probably, I just thought it wasn't there that night. Indy Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard, I just thought they weren't on the same page at different times. Happy to see Indy Hartwell get the win because I thought maybe they're going to do something with her, and that's kind of interesting.
Hey, and unlike Hogan, Tessa has a black friend.
Apparently does. JC Jane, now we're getting to the big story of this show, I thought. Now, here's a girl who I think a lot of people were shocked she won the NXT Women's Championship. Now
I did not see her winning this match.
No, I thought with Trick being the champ, maybe Santana, I thought that, okay, this is going to be Masa Slamovich doing this, and I thought Jordynne Grace would eventually win the NXT Women's Championship, and maybe I thought they'd do that because there's history with her and Masha, but no. Chasey's now TNA Knockouts champion and NXT Women's Championship. But as big as that was, and that was probably the moment, I would say, Leon Slater defeats Moose for the X Division Championship in an absolute crazy match. And then AJ Styles comes out and endorses Leon Slater.
That was huge. One note I made during this match is they were making such a note of Leon Slater's mom, sister, and girlfriend were here. And then didn't separate who was who. So then you see him in the crowd, and it's easy to pick out the mom, but you're like, who's the sister? Who's the girlfriend? It was a weird moment on commentary there, but this was huge. Not only Leon Slater getting that championship, becoming the youngest X Division champion ever, but then having AJ come out and share the ring with you and give you that rub, that's even bigger. And it feels like Leon Slater is now that next big guy in TNA.
And I mean, this next match, the Hardys defeated the Nemesis, Ryan and Nick, the Rascals, Zachary Wentz, and ended up being Myron Reed in First Class, AJ Francis and Navarro. AJ Francis took some crazy bumps here. And then Jeff Hardy ended up
I like the rope ladder from the ceiling, because it's like when you've done all these things over the years to be innovative in a ladder match, and then 20 years in, you're breaking out stuff that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm into it. It's wild to see the Hardys as champions again. And
Bully Ray came out. I guess he's talking about a Team 3D versus Hardys match at Bound for Glory.
So setting up some big things, some interesting things, and then you got that heavyweight championship in that main event.
Trick Williams walked out with the championship. I know a lot of people weren't happy because TNA wasn't leaving any belts. I think it's a bigger story, but man, to me, the bigger story is Mike Santana. I thought so. I'll get to that. It's like so Mike Santana. He was wrapped to the ring by Action Bronson, I want to say it was.
No.
Who was it?
I don't know who it was. I didn't get the name.
Okay, you're going to call me out. That's fine. I thought it was Action Bronson. Kiss these balls, bitch. Anyway, Mike Santana looked like a star to me, but it wasn't his night. Trick Williams, another guy who looks like a star, though, quite frankly. I mean, this is a guy who looks like he could be a top guy on
I thought for sure Santana was getting it tonight.
To answer the question there, Randy, are we going to TNA shows? No, that would be tonight, because last night they had a live show from Rhode Island.
I wasn't going to be able to do that.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be in our schedule. But unfortunately, because, TNA's doing some good shit.
Speaking of, let's take this down for a second, because if you've been watching our YouTube lately, we've been going to shows and working with Outcast Wrestling Revolution, and we wanted to take a minute to talk about how much fun it's been working with them. Shout out to Cindy and Lou for letting us help out with what you guys do at your shows, allowing us to get interviews. If you're looking for some good local wrestling, check out Outcast Wrestling Revolution. They have a show coming up at the Ledyard Middle School. It's a fun night out. You're going to enjoy it. And it fits in with our schedule a lot. And that's what's easier, because we've always called this the Working Fans Podcast. There's always been that day job along with the wrestling. It limits some of what we're able to check out.
But it's been a blast working with Outcast.
And if we're going to talk about music stars in the ring, let's talk about Jelly Roll. How are you feeling about this upcoming SummerSlam matchup? Jelly Roll stepping into the ring in a tag team match.
Yeah. I'm not. Nothing against the guy. He seems like a genuine fan. I think he's taking it seriously and he's getting himself in shape, but I'm a little burnt out on celebrities in wrestling right now. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just curious, we'll cut this up and make it a segment during the week, and maybe people can tell me what you think, because I don't know. For me, I'd like a little bit of a break from the celebrities in wrestling. I don't care if it's WWE, AEW, TNA, but I'm a little celebrity'd out right now.
I also would like that break, but I love this, especially you got 2 nights of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
You've had Jelly Roll bring this feud to the Tonight Show, and I've heard complaints about it, but from what I've seen, it's been Jelly Roll mainly staying with Logan Paul and the wrestlers are kind of fighting each other. Now, some wrestlers have attacked Jelly Roll, but Jelly Roll hasn't gone after a wrestler. So far, like, I'm cool with that. You need these big spectacle matches. But yeah, if I would rather have another wrestler in there, but I think this is going to be huge, and I like seeing Jelly Roll get in there.
You want to talk more about SummerSlam? Oh, we'll talk about Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, we're going to move on to Goldberg because we weren't... I want to get back to this because you and
Dallas Page.
Yeah, you and AJ kind of did the review of Saturday night's main event. I haven't checked it out yet, but I didn't get a chance to kind of react to this whole Goldberg thing. Now, Goldberg, mad with the WWE because of the situation with this final match. You think he's right or wrong to be mad about it?
Yeah, you can feel how he feels. I'm probably in the minority here with that, but I think ultimately, if you're Bill Goldberg, you got a chance to have a retirement match on Saturday night's main event. You weren't in any big plans.
In Atlanta.
I mean, maybe they could have kept the speech going on Peacock or something like that.
Well, apparently they did. At least on NBC, they cut it off. I believe on Peacock it faded out because you'll notice if you watch it, like I believe I watched this live.
Okay.
So you'll see it. It fades out as it closes, and then they were able to show it after.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, then I don't know really what's to be upset about.
I think it's just the fact that it got cut off at all, and it's like...
I know he wanted a bigger build. I get that.
Yep. I mean, I think if you're Goldberg, you can get mad that it got cut off, but in the end, it's not your show, so it's like not that you had any control over that. You know, and it's timing-wise. Like, maybe the WWE could have done better about it.
You weren't a priority. I mean, I know it is what it is. I let it against Bill, but they didn't see it as a priority. It's not your business. You got what you got. I think I'd be happy, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot going on that show anyways, because you had that injury angle with Seth Rollins, which, do you think that's real, or do you think this is storyline? Because
both.
It looked pretty convincing, you know, in the way that he came out of that corner and went right into that finisher. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like you got to be setting up for something big.
Yeah, so the rumor is that he was already injured, and he set that up, which, hey, who would know better how to set something up like that? Seth Rollins. He's had knee injuries in the past.
Yeah.
So I think that they knew what they were doing, and I think they're letting you think that Steph's going to be out for a long, long time. But that's why I was saying afterwards, like, will he cash in at SummerSlam? I wonder. Cody Rhodes wins the title back from Cena. We're all like, Cody's finally back. Nope. Seth Rollins cashes in.
Or Gunther and CM Punk are in that ring. They're battling.
There you go.
You know, CM Punk has Gunther down. Seth Rollins gets in there, steals that championship from Punk, and then that sets up next year's WrestleMania, Survivor Series. It sets up a big program going forward. So I see him cashing in.
And we already have a potential Roman Rollins feud coming here, too, at some point, too.
100%. And you talked about possible champions. We are talking Mark Briscoe, this guy doing incredible in AEW.
I think that...
do you think it's possible he could be champion at some point?
I think the first time watching it this week, when I watched him squaring off on the microphone with MJF, holding his own, and, you know, just the way they talked about him and how MJF said that, you know, you're a comedy guy, you know, that people identify with you because of your silly accent. I don't know. There was something about it, and then he ended up beating Claudio later on in the show. I just thought to myself, here's a guy that I could see, you know, as world champion. Maybe like a Mick Foley type situation where it's not a long run, but I could see them putting that title on him. And I hope they do. To me, Mark Briscoe has been really one of the bright stars in AEW.
Yeah, and it's kind of wild because, you know, we wouldn't have previously thought of him this way because of being in that tag team for so long. Yeah. He had good singles matches.
But Jay was more the singles star, too.
Jay had held singles titles. He held that top title. And it's great to see Mark be able to break out in that same way. I would like to hope at some point Mark would get a shot with that championship. And, he's doing great in AEW. We got to get to some more sad news because, having the Outcast episode come out, not all our news is timely. And this week we got the news that Buff Bagwell had part of his leg amputated.
Yeah.
This was sad to see because, Buff has been so positive coming back from everything he's gone through. And a lot of that transformation happened because of this car accident he was in that caused the leg injury that caused him to lose it. But now he's clean. Yeah. So it's wild to hear. What was your favorite time frame of Buff Bagwell?
Oh, so, I'm really sad to hear that from Marcus. Hopefully he's doing well emotionally as he can be. Wish him nothing but the best. But my favorite Marcus Bagwell was actually much younger. I liked Marcus Alexander Bagwell when he first started off as the rookie.
I was about to say the same thing as well. That was my favorite time frame. Yeah. I don't know what it was about it. I think it was just young kid could move so well in the ring. He got paired up with Scorpio at one point.
Yeah, I liked underdogs too, Yeah, so him. I was going to say his team with Too Cold, Scorpio, the Patriot, Scotty Riggs, and then even before that, I'll go back, he played a character called the Handsome Stranger on Global Wrestling Federation. Always thought that was fun. So
yeah, I had that Dark Side of the Ring episode recently that was real good. Just wanted to mention Buff Bagwell. Hope you get better. And we are going to end today's episode with 3 big comparisons. We are going to start with who is better in ring, AJ Styles, Mr. Perfect. Sometimes when you put up these comparisons, for me, it's like an easy pick, one or the other. Yeah. Sometimes I'm kind of at a loss. And I'm kind of in that situation right now. These guys are 2 of the best in the ring. They have that acrobatic style. They could go on the mat if needed. Yeah, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Yeah, Who would you pick first?
So better in the ring, if we're talking if you don't put in the aerial aspect of this, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. All right, I think Mr. Perfect, the way he hits his moves, the crispness of it, in a lot of ways, like Bret Hart, he was the excellence of execution. He executed his moves perfectly.
Comes from a family of wrestlers.
AJ didn't have that. That being said, AJ Styles is the more athletic of the 2, and that's not a knock on Perfect. AJ is just, again, no pun intended, a phenomenal athlete. So I think overall, the better in-ring talent, I'm going to say by a hair, is AJ Styles.
Yeah, the thing with AJ, too, is he was always, a big fish in a small pond. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until he was able to get to New Japan that he got seen more around the world. Yeah. We saw him on a bunch of indies, and then he made his way to WWE. Sure. Kurt Hennig had that for a little bit in the AWA, but then he was a really good fish in a giant pond and kind of didn't really blend in because he stood out in that newer era of WWF, WWE, but didn't hold that top champion. Was always like a solid upper mid-card guy. And then we saw him go to WCW. We saw him wrestle after that. And even as his health was declining, he was still amazing in the ring. But AJ has been so good for so long. Luckily didn't have any vices that kind of affected that. So I think if we're going to go better in ring, I'm going to have to go AJ Styles as well.
Okay.
Another comparison that you suggested that I really liked because I think it really fit both men is Goldberg or Ultimate Warrior. Guys who were popular, who are names in the business, legends. But for people that watch wrestling, it's almost like a one-note joke, a one-move wrestler. Yeah. They had one lane, they did it well, but you're not going to get much of anything if you get them outside of like that sphere. So if you're putting Goldberg up against Warrior,
Goldberg was the better in-ring competitor, I feel like, because he did try a little more, like he tried to incorporate some MMA stuff in there.
Yeah, that's true. He did bring that other aspect to there.
They both, had a reputation of sometimes injuring people. They both could be a little reckless. Yeah, I'd have to say Goldberg's probably the better in-ring competitor.
See, I don't know if it's all the talk of Hogan dying this week, but like I'm really feeling Ultimate Warrior in this. I'm feeling like my inner 80s kid coming out, and it's like
I like the Warrior better as a character. Like when you put the two up against each other, that might be blasphemy to some people.
Who's got better music, Goldberg or Warrior?
The Ultimate Warrior all day, baby. Pat Tanaka came out to Bill Goldberg's music. All right, no offense.
Former guest of the show, Pat Tanaka.
He wasn't a main event guy, so. But Goldberg did make his music. That being said, Warrior, that song. You know what I watched last night? I was watching was SummerSlam '88. Warrior is the surprise opponent for the Honky Tonk Man, and he wins the Intercontinental Championship. And then Billy Graham is on commentary. That's some familiar music, brother. So I love that.
That's great. I'm gonna have to go back and watch some old '80s stuff this week, and we're gonna end on the biggest comparison here because. Two great wrestlers from two different eras. You've got, we've been talking 80s and 90s stuff a lot of today, and Bret Hart was the guy that came to prominence during the 80s and 90s in WWF, WWE, eventually WCW, was a factor in Stampede Wrestling. This guy, when you think about in-ring excellence, you think about Bret Hart. But, I mean, if you are 10, 15 years older than us, if you're thinking of in-ring excellence, Harley Race was that guy, former NWA heavyweight champion, known tough guy. This guy was still tough as a manager when we were watching WCW in the 90s.
One of the great things about Bret Hart is he makes all his matches believable. He makes it feel like there's a struggle. He makes it feel like there's a fight. I don't know if there's a more believable guy in the ring than Harley Race. He had that ability to make you think he was the best in the world.
Harley's great, but I mean, if you didn't have Harley, the style wouldn't have evolved to Bret Hart.
That's what I was going to get at. It's almost like the AJ Styles Mr. Perfect comparison. At the end of the day, Bret became the more advanced version of that. And although if you're asking me in a shoot fight, I'm probably going to walk out with Harley. But if you're asking me bell to bell, again, we're probably talking about by just a hair, but I got to go with Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, this is a dream match. I would love to see it, but I would, to me, it's definitely got to be Bret Hart. And guys, that is it for this week. We hope you enjoyed what we brought. Yeah. Please, if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Get out to an Outcast Wrestling Revolution show.
Watch some New Heights Wrestling on YouTube, too.
100%. We got a great main event coming up. We are now hosts of the show. We are in the commercials. We are all over it. But we are also all over... I wanted to say it in the best way. We like our sponsors. Yeah, we like our sponsors.
Author Ray Lopez presents Lockup, professional wrestling in our world. Lockup dives headfirst into the colorful world of professional wrestling. Explore the iconic characters, careers, matches, history, and families, and delve into the bizarre and fascinating entwining of professional wrestling and film, television, football, politics, gender, and race. Pre-orders are available now on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com. This is the perfect gift for the wrestling fan in your life. Pick up a copy today on Amazon.com or at MascotBooks.com.
Hey, all you goddamn wrestling fans out there, listen, old black Bart has got a book. It's called Wrestle. Black Bart. It's got some that-gum good stories in there about some that-gum good wrestlers.
Read stories of Dusty Rhodes, the Von Erich, Scott Casey, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Ron Bass, Bruiser Brody, Mike Davis, the Grappler, and many others.
And I guarantee you one thing, that it'll be the best dadgum read you've had in a long, long time.
Get your book today at Russellville.com or on Amazon. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Hey fans, it's the man they call Dave with producer Joe, And you probably know us as the commentary team for New Heights Pro Wrestling, but when we're not doing that, we got a podcast.
That is the Working Fans Podcast, where we talk pro wrestling, comedy, MMA, and so much more.
And tell them about that signature segment.
Oh, you talk about the 531?
You know I am.
That is a homegrown creation that has been our namesake. And if you want to know our namesake, we got Chevy, AJ Strange Brew, as well as the two of us.
And why don't you go to our channel, like, subscribe, show us some love.
Rate, review, all of it.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Russellville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Russellville.com. Russellville. It's where wrestling lives.